Okay. Hi everyone. It's the last day of 2017. And what we thought we would do, we're going to do 2 videos of 2017. We're going to do one about the negative side of 2017. And then we're going to do one about the positive, the things that are really good about 2017. I got Philippa and Chada with me here. What we've done, we put a video on for the negative. We put Moria 2015 on when I went down to Moria and done the video down of Moria 2017. And believe me, there is not much difference today after all the money that's came in from aid agencies and NGOs and everything else. Someone was quoting 1.5 billion came into Lesbos. And Moria, believe it or not, I filmed it the other week, and there's not much difference with the filth and the disgusting way the guys are showering under bits of hose pipe out in the fields and things like this, and trying to keep warm in the tents, and we're trying our best to help them. So, so we're going to start off 2017 negative, and then I'll do a video positive. So, just say hello, Charlie.
Hello.
That's chocolate.
Hi everyone.
Okay, so January started off, really bad. 2017, we had the storms that came in, heavy rain around the 6th of January, beginning of the year, and the conditions in Moria then was unbelievable. I think it was 3 days, wasn't it? The rain came. It came at all angles, doesn't it? Really cold.
I've never seen rain so long and without any break. I mean, and Moria being on a hill, literally, it was just a river. It was horrific. All the drainage from the mountains, and we had a similar thing this week. But anyway.
And then on the Friday morning, the weather went really cold and it snowed. Everything froze. All the rain and water froze. I mean, I know what it was like out here with jumpers and stuff that got wet, that were just frozen solid. And in Moria, everything in their tents froze solid. And it was just horrendous down there. People did lose their lives in Moria at the beginning of this year because of the cold and stuff. It was absolutely horrendous. Then we, in January also, we went to the chief prosecutor because we've been attacked constantly, as a lot of people know, by the fascists and these disgusting people that want to attack us online and on the telephone and everything else. So there's one guy in particular we wanted, who's called himself Yogo Fuck the English. He's been attacking us for a long time. So we went to the chief prosecutor and asked if we could open up his Facebook. And the chief prosecutor said, he'd do all the paperwork and stuff. He'd done it for us. We had to pay 750 euros. Now we're the end of December. We paid the 750 euros. We've done all the statements. We've done the statements in the police station and everything else. And still we've heard nothing. Nearly 1 year on, nothing. And this to me is unbelievable. We had the same incident in England. We took a guy, a really disgusting person, to court on May the 26th of this year. And this guy, he had an oil company and everything, and he'd been attacking us for a long time. And the British crimes unit, they took him to court, and we won the case against him, which was something. But here, I don't know what's going on. They said to me 6 months, and it's a year now. We've heard nothing.
No, the British guy didn't work very well because he came back and started to attack again.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. He came back. After he was there was a restriction against him in England. He wasn't allowed to. There was a.
He's got a restraining order against him.
For a year. For a year. And he came back here and just stayed in a hotel down the road, shouting and screaming again. And we got in touch with the police officers in England, and they said, well, what can we do about it? We can't do nothing. This guy's not going to stop.
But he has got a criminal record now. He was charged with aggravated, racial aggravated harassment. So it's quite a serious crime. I mean, and it took a long time. But he
still came here and attacked us again after that. Within a month or two after it, he came back and attacked us. Yeah, in the summers. Yeah, but and the police's attitude in England was, how can we stop him? Where they should put him in fucking prison, personally. And they start fining him. I mean, he got fined at £85 and another £85 or something. This guy is a millionaire. You know, that I didn't like. You know, I like the idea he's got a criminal record and he can't get it, can't go to a lot of countries because of it now. But I didn't like the idea of the fine, and he got 15 days community service.
Yeah.
You know, that I'd have loved to have filmed.
Probably
Definitely.
with refugees.
With hopefully with refugees. You know, knowing him. But the thing is, he did stop it going in the press. He had so much money, he stopped it going in the press, local press in England and everything, which I thought was disgusting. You know, because his ex-company advertises in these papers and stuff. I think that was disgusting, you know. He should have got a really high fine to, you know, with his earnings and everything else, he should have been fined $250,000. He should have been hurt. And that $250,000 should have been given to refugees in England.
Yeah, that was
you know,
the best one. Yeah.
That's the only way. I mean, it's fine rich people the same as you'd find a guy that earns no money at all. I think it's disgusting. Anyway, that's the way that goes. We've still had boats coming in. We've had, you know, a major year of boats coming in, and it's been hard, I must admit. Especially in the beginning of the year, we had frostbites.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like that in my life. Really haven't. That was horrific. These poor people had walked so far, and when we spoke to them about where they got the frostbite from, it was in Iran. They were crossing the mountains on foot in Iran. Because they considered that the safer route than coming via Libya, because Libya is unstable. And the lengths people go to get here it never ceases to amaze me. But I mean, they'd slept out in such cold temperatures in Iran, in the mountains.
I mean, we had
it's the
people
frostbite.
laid out on Scala. You remember that? We had people laid out everywhere. You know, not just with frostbites, people collapsing, people in bad
In
states,
shock. Yeah.
shock as well. And one day there, you know, this massive scream went up, and I turned around and Philippa pulled this guy's sock off, and his toe came off inside the sock.
To be fair, it was only a bit of his toe.
Well, it was enough to make him scream big time. You know, you opened up all of his nerve endings and everything, and you didn't know. I mean, you just took his sock off. Wet sock it was.
Like minor frostbite is clearly exceptionally painful. The major frostbite looks worse.
Yeah.
But the minor frostbite was. I mean, these guys were in agony.
Yeah.
So it's.
So and then, you know, we had our teams out all year. We've had people here out all year, watching for us. You know, some amazing people. Anyway, when we went into April, you know, on the 24th of April, we had another big accident off our house outside in the sea there. 25 people lost their lives.
That we don't know.
Well, they say there was 27 on the boat. We don't know.
Yeah, I mean they didn't find all the bodies in the end. I don't know what we found.
16.
16.
16.
Yeah,
Yeah.
16 were found.
But
16 bodies and two
survivors. But the amazing thing about that was the 2 survivors, because they'd been in the water.
Pregnant.
One was pregnant, 8 months pregnant. The other one was a young lady. But the amazing thing is, where everyone else died, men and everything else died, these 2 women, they survived. They've survived in really cold temperatures for 14 hours in the water.
It seems when I spoke to the doctor, it's because they were unconscious, because they panicked and hyperventilated. Plus, they were both bigger ladies, and because they were unconscious, the hypothermia didn't affect them as much. Because when you fall into cold water, the more you swim and struggle, the actual more heat your body sends to your skin.
Yeah.
Because they were unconscious, they actually survived, and luckily they had life jackets that kept them breathing and their heads above water.
And that's the amazing thing. The thing that got me there, you know, I mean, we lost all these people and everything else. I mean, this is a worldwide story. You had 2 women in the water that actually survived, one pregnant, and the baby was born. And it's born. There's nothing wrong with it. It's fantastic. But the press didn't pick up on it. They didn't want to know. It wasn't they didn't pick up on it. We did.
I called
everyone. And they don't want to know because these are just refugees. But that is a worldwide story. Whether it's refugees or it doesn't matter anyone else in that situation, that would have been world news. These 2 women survived in the water, with one being pregnant when everyone else died. That disgusted me. I mean, we had a lot of disgusting things going on in 2017 regarding the media and things like that, and the governments and things ignoring this, and the abuses coming out of the governments and stuff. A lot of disgusting things going on. Anyway, then we had the biggest problem of all for us, you know, because, you know, we do our best to help refugees, and we have done our best to help refugees for 3 years now. You know, and we really try our best, and the thing this year, our biggest headache, and I think we all agree, was these disgusting NGOs coming in and these disgusting coordinators coming in as business rather than helping refugees.
It's the constant battles that it just seems like such a waste of energy when what we all should be here for is the refugees.
Yeah.
And we lost a lot of people this summer out in the waters. There was a lot of search and rescue going on. There was people dying quite a lot. The conditions here have just deteriorated worse and worse through the years. There is so much help still needed, and yet everyone is focused on, it's my beach. This is my
refugee.
My refugee, yeah. It's like the I care more syndrome, and it's dreadful. It's okay. We had it a little bit late 2015 when everyone's running in and they were all sort of living on adrenaline and saving the 2015 when people were later on, like November time, late November, it got a little crazy. But that was more about adrenaline junkie kind of thing. But now this is more calculated. This is like
business,
aiming for control all the time.
Yeah, it's business.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because we've always, that whole part of what we do is to work with so many other groups, because none of this is possible on our own. No group can do this on their own, and it's only the groups that work with others that get through this and are effective. I mean, when you think how many teams we've had out here over the years to run this sort of 20 kilometres of coast, well, not run it, but actually divide it up. So
we run it as one. We always did.
Yeah, but it's always about the safety of the refugees crossing. That is always the paramount thing.
But
we, at the end of 2016, we had this one particular team that was attacking us, and there was a meeting with the UNHCR against the Kempson family. I think we've done a video. I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
But with a couple of other teams. Now, as we come into 2017, these same people were still attacking us, even in UNHCR meetings we were in. You know, and it's actually draining on us. You know, I'm in a meeting one day, you know, and they're all sitting there giggling, these new volunteers and everything else, and they think these things are fucking funny. You know, we've lost a lot of people. You know,
this is up to date, Moria. Sorry.
Oh yeah, this one's up to date, Moria. This is the last video I done the other day. Anyway, you know, some of the things that they've said against us is just unbelievable. You know, and there's one guy, they're sitting there all giggling, and these two NGOs together, they've teamed up together, and they're giggling, and they think it's funny, and they say, Kempson, we're going to teach you how to spot for boats. You know. I brought in 2,000 bloody boats, and in a UNHCR meeting, they're all giggling, laughing at us and taking the piss out of us because of what we done. And these people, most of them have only been here a few weeks, and this is what is disgusting. And the coordinators, you know, I know two coordinators on one of the NGOs was secretly, one of them was a CEO on another NGO and a treasurer on the other NGO, and the corruption was going on there was unbelievable. You know, but it's this constant drain. We had a head of another NGO actually in my house screaming at me because we found out there was secret apps going on. And these two NGOs were working, trying to get on the boats between them, so no one else got the publicity, and they got all the publicity.
But nobody had a secret app, they say.
They said, well, she was here in my house saying, you're a disgusting person, Kempson, even to think we would do such a thing, and everything else, and she's really having a go at me. 2 days later, it came out they did have secret apps. And we were apologised to by one of the guys and said, yes, it did go on, Eric, and it's still going on and everything else. So I brought it up in a UNHCR meeting, and they're all there saying it never happened and everything else. And I said, you know, well, that person there told me, and then they started screaming at him, we trusted you not to say nothing to the Kempsons and everything else, inside a UNHCR meeting. You know,
sometimes it feels like we're in some kind of weird schoolyard, like high school schoolyard behaviour. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. It doesn't make sense to me. And you know what's got to me the most is the fact that the protection of refugees, like the UNHCR don't do much, but their main task is to protect the refugees.
Meant to be.
And so many incidents have gone on this year with landings and people's health. You know, really situations where we needed medical attention quickly, and it's been denied to the refugees, and no one is there to speak out for them. And when we speak up and complain and stuff, that going to the press and stuff like that, the UNHCR and other people, is ridiculous. I mean, we've been accused publicly of making stuff up, And we were there, and there's video evidence of what went on, and yet, you know, so, I mean, we've reached the point now, when was it we stopped going to the UNHCR meeting? September.
I just had enough of it. These kids in that running, you know,
The stress.
they tried to take over the maps that...
The whole north.
They tried to take over... Well, they did say in the meeting, they're running the north coast of Lesbos.
And they changed the maps.
Yeah, and they changed the maps and everything else. So, you know, in 2015 we had all these good people and people that were very intelligent people. The head of captains from boats from MSF, Greenpeace, Proactive, Open Arms, they were fantastic guys. All these fantastic guys, James Brown and we all put the map together as one big unit. And then you got these kids at 20 years old saying, I've got maritime experience and I've been around the world and I've done this and I'm going to change the map because I know what I'm doing. You know, and I'm trying to say you can't do these things. These maps were put in place by really intelligent people, and for a reason, because we've got so many different nationalities. We've got so many intelligent people and unintelligent. The maps are made so simple to save lives.
Everybody
and now you want to make
understands,
it so complicated. And how many arguments do we have? And they kept coming up, these new kids, and they kept on, and the same people's faces all the time approached. You know, and then they want the stick, you know, they want the digital stick for the map so they can put their name on it and everything else. I mean, these people are just disgusting. And we've still got the problems today. They're still carrying on today. They're still trying to destroy the Kempson family.
And the communication is shit.
Yeah.
It's really shit.
Well, they've destroyed it. They've destroyed the North Coast. These two
when
teams...
When boat is coming in now, it's suddenly there. They fall out of the sky before it. They got a notification that there is a boat coming in on there and there and there and there. And it's landing on that ETA more or less that time. But now they are already landed. Yeah, and
they're putting stuff on WhatsApp, and you can see they've spoken before because
Yeah.
it's like, oh yeah, can you do this? Or and they're halfway through a conversation and they put it on WhatsApp rather than their private communication.
People landed.
And this is disgusting. You know, we are here to help refugees. We've tried our best over 3 years, but it's the same bloody names all the time that are attacking us. The same fucking people behind it. You know, even the latest thing that's happened to us. One of the CEOs on that NGO, it was the woman that was attacking us in 2016, 2017. It's the same bloody people, the same disgusting people that are doing it, you know. And the corruption that's gone on is just unbelievable amongst these people. We've been attacked by... We had one woman, do you remember that woman, Smith, in England that attacked us? And she came on Skype and everything, and we wondered what the hell was going on. We was actually with a lawyer at the time. Yeah, and we wondered what the hell was going on. Someone said you're being attacked on Facebook and everything else, and we were with the lawyer.
It was a group they'd set up or something that says this behaviour has to stop. I'd forgotten about that. And I'm like, what the hell is this about? What have I done? You know, and then people are threatening to sue us and stuff. Like, about what? And then she went round calling everyone that we were dealing with and telling them that they shouldn't work with us, that we're horrible people. And this keeps surfacing every now and again. It just keeps raising its ugly head. And luckily the people that we work with know us well and have worked with us now for 2 years.
And then, if you have some good people
and know
behind us,
that we, you know, we might shout and scream. Well, you do.
I do all the time.
But you know, when we set our mind to a project, we will put our heart and soul into it, and we will achieve. In spite of all this.
But what was behind this one, which we found out in the end, I mean, we actually Skyped this woman, and what she said was completely, you know, she was saying that Salam ad-Din, he's a smuggler and everything else, and the bullshit this woman was putting out was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. This woman needs to be bloody sorted out. Anyway, she was ringing around everyone, but what came out of it, that day we were in... the lawyers, we were there to open a warehouse outside Moria. We were negotiating with the lawyers and stuff in September. And this warehouse would have been right on Moria, so we were trying to stabilise Moria. The UNHCR and everyone's pulling out. They don't want to winterise it, don't want to get involved in what's going to happen in Moria. So we got together, and it's Salam ad-Din's idea that we get this warehouse as all the teams together, and we stabilise Moria. And we sat down, we discussed it all, and we discussed what we could do, and we reckon we could stabilise Moria within a month to 6 weeks, 6,500 people, no problem if we all got together and done it. This woman, I found out in the end, you know, after she spent 3 hours attacking us and everything else, and she was talking to us on Skype, and horrible bloody woman. I don't even know the woman, never met her or anything, you know. I know she was on my Facebook as friends, but I've never spoken to her or anything. Anyway, what I found out, she was bringing a container for another warehouse. And the people that run this warehouse, they attacked us in the past a couple of times. So, you know, it all came out afterwards, what was going on, you know, which is disgusting. And this woman, you know, we didn't know at all, did we? We never met her at all.
No, never met her, never had any dealings with her since or before.
Yeah.
And she said to me, well, you do know me, you've been in group chats with me. Like, I have a couple of other things to do, and I keep getting added to groups that mean nothing to me. Yeah. You know, I don't think people realise how much, you know, at the end of the day, we're two people, and Chada has been amazing. So, you know, there's three of us trying to do all these projects, because everyone comes, they go, okay, they have work and commitments and family. But at the end of the day, this is our life. And I don't know. I just don't understand what motivates people to attack the way that they do.
Money in business and ruling, egos. I mean, what happened? That delayed the warehouse for about 6 weeks because of what this woman did. We had to pull back, and someone else came in and started attacking us because they didn't want us to run this warehouse. And it wasn't us. There was a group of people running the warehouse. Anyway, when we actually finally did get the warehouse, it was 4 founder members started it up. And we brought in one NGO, Refugees for Refugees, that literally kicked the other 3 founding members out. And we only brought them in because they were an NGO and we needed the NGO paperwork. And he was standing in the warehouse, basically. We've done videos and stuff on it. It's like screaming, he's the boss and he's going to do what he likes. And he doesn't want the other founding members in there, and he wanted to take it over with this big ego. I mean, this guy is a compulsive liar anyway. We know that. So, you know... Anyway, this is what's going on in 2017. You know, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's that whole issue is the worst. I mean, it's the worst I've ever felt, especially, I mean, since the Hope Centre nightmare in 2016.
Yeah.
It honestly, this whole thing has made me ill. I don't understand what motivates
And
people.
when this guy from Refugees for Refugees started kicking everyone out, you get the same names cropping up behind it again. Here we go again. This person's behind him pushing in this way to do it. The same names. You know, these disgusting people, and they are really disgusting people, because they're here to make money. They're here to make their big egos and everything else, but it's the same names cropping up.
And in the meantime, they destroy it.
That project was going to be so
fantastic.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd been working for months on it still, like getting the groups to get involved, getting the backing,
getting the containers in, everything.
But also the volunteers, the plan for the future. It was also the position that it was in. We could use it as an emergency shelter, and then the plans we had that putting the mezzanine floor in. To turn it into also a community centre and stuff. All that it was destroyed. A beautiful project.
It's destroyed because of someone's ego and greed, and with a few disgusting people behind him.
And the stress of, you know, I tried to explain to him that stuff, okay, yes, it is meant for refugees, but I'd made promises to the people who delivered it. I had obligations, especially with the finances that went into it.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to answer to the Charities Commission, to
the donors,
to PRISM, to the donors, and people trust us and expect us to deliver what we say.
But basically, he just tried to take over everything, even all the container stuff we had in there. And one day we had a container arrive, and he stood at the door screaming, and he wouldn't let the lorry unload the container stuff into the warehouse. And there was plenty of room in the warehouse to do it. And it left us, and we were just standing there, dumbfounded. What the hell are we going to do with all this stuff, you know? Right at he's just screaming, it's my warehouse, I signed the contract and everything else, even though he only paid 1 month's rent, and there's 4 months' rent being paid on the place. You know, this guy is so disgusting, he's unbelievable, and the people that back him are disgusting. You know. Anyway, we're going to wind 2017 up. There's so much has happened.
I mean, the thing I want to say as well is we're looking at the conditions on the video. You saw 2015, and now you're seeing 2017 at the moment. Yeah. It pains me to say that things have never been this bad. It's the worst it's ever been. The people who are stuck here now have no hope.
The mental side of it is.
We were chatting to a guy yesterday. He's been 1 year and 1 month. He's 63 years old, living in a tent, and they still can't process his asylum. the positive of the project we've got at the moment we'll talk about in a minute, but what we've seen this week is so many babies, so many tiny babies
Incredible.
living in tents.
Jesus.
And it's
winter.
January. You know, so far the weather's been wet. I mean, the last 2 weeks has been so wet, so it's either really wet or really cold. But you know, in the next 2-3 weeks, we're going to get snow. It's going to be horrible, and there is babies still in the tents.
Oh, yesterday, yesterday we talk about this in that other project, but there was these children with cut off Crocs.
No
so
socks.
The Crocs weren't big enough for their feet, so they'd like flattened them and cut them out so their feet would fit. And I took these one shoe off this child, and oh god, the smell was incredible.
But if you've got no running water,
no, got nothing, can't wash
to
them.
wash your children.
Yeah.
It's bizarre, and that's one thing that to go with the positive is the project that we have got involves all of that.
Yeah.
But I just cannot believe that Europe has got to this point where there is no human rights, there is no rights for refugees, and we're about last winter people died in January this year. People died in tents due to hypothermia and carbon monoxide poisoning. The suicides were high. But that was young men, and the world could ignore it because they were just men. But what's going to happen in the next weeks is
Same thing.
Babies are going to
deal
start
with it.
dying.
You can't deal with it.
Children are playing in sewage in Moria.
Or rats, you see the rats?
The rats
God.
and
Rats are
the
everywhere.
trash is not being collected. I mean, people say to me, oh, shouldn't they clean up their own mess? I'm like, but where do they put it?
Yeah.
You know,
The disgusting thing about all this, I mean, we know it's like a slow train wreck. It's going to happen. But what really gets to me is we have the people on the island to deal with it. We have the people on the island, and we have the stuff on the island to deal with it. You know, we do need more stuff coming in regarding shampoos and hygiene stuff and things like this. But the point is, it's these egos. You have these warehouses full. This really gets me. And two people said to me yesterday, they're not only full, there's boxes outside in the soaking rain with stuff soaking wet, and that really gets to me. And when we're on this subject, you know, I remember back in the year, you know, in the middle of the year, we're talking about NGOs and that now. You know, we're in a UNHCR meeting, and this head of this NGO, he comes in and he starts saying he's going to take over the north coast of Lesbos. And I'm thinking, what the hell's going on here, you know? Anyway, we had a massive argument in the UNH. I said, you don't even have a spotting crew, you don't have a boat or nothing. And he's sitting there saying, I've saved thousands of people. Yeah, I mean, come on. Anyway, and this is what it is about egos, you know. And these people, believe it or not, you know, some of these NGOs, you look at the cars they're driving around in and stuff.
It's incredible.
You know, these gold pickup trucks and things like this. This is all NGO money. This is all donations that people are giving to them. And that Smith woman in London, in England, wherever she come from, she actually said it was down to the Kempsons that the donations from people were going down because we were shouting about the corruption. And she told us to stop shouting about the corruption. You know, to me, that was just unbelievable. Basically, she's saying to us, shut up and let us do what we want to do. You know, because let these corrupt people do what they want to do. I think if they're corrupt, they need to be put out there. They need to be shut. I didn't mean to kick her off the bloody island, personally, because these people are doing so much bloody damage.
I think also when now in January babies are going to die, the media will be very interested.
Oh, the media's going to be really happy.
Because,
But it'll take dead children for the world to actually focus back, because that's one thing that's negative this year is the press have lost interest. It's not sexy anymore to be refugees, and the conditions are worse than ever, and the media is not reporting it because nobody wants to hear it.
Yeah, but I think a lot of this is government run as well, because what's happened in the last 3 years, the governments are disgusting in Europe.
Yeah, but you're freelance journalists. Yeah. There exists freelance journalists.
Yeah, but they've got to actually get it published. Who do you publish it with? Because this is a lot of these things are run by rich people that are in with the governments, you know, and this is the problem. You know, and what's happened in the last 3 years, I mean, we know the governments have destroyed human rights in Europe. Europe was a civilised place, and now it's just becoming a disgusting place because you can tear gas children in prams. It doesn't matter. No one's going to say nothing. You can beat people up. You can spray tear gas on people's sleeping bags that are freezing cold.
Well,
no one's going to say nothing. Yeah, you can beat people up. The amount of videos I've seen of people being beat up is unbelievable.
Just for the
by
crime
the authorities,
of being a refugee.
Watching the boats being sliced and sunk by authorities, you know, in Turkey and things like this. This is so disgusting. It's unbelievable. it's just, and they've just literally destroyed the Geneva Convention in 3 years. I really hope we can change things in 2018. I don't know, but I really, something's got to happen. Something
will happen.
We've got to stop these disgusting people ruling Europe.
Well, we'll keep fighting.
So,
we'll keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
And keep trying to make a difference, at least to the people we can reach.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, we're going to wind this one up, yes?
Yeah.
And we're going to do 2 videos. The next one will be more positive. Sorry about this one, but this really, I think it needs to be said.
Yeah, but
it needs
then
to
we
be
can
said.
focus on the happy.
Now we can focus. The next one we can do, we can focus on that. Okay, all the best, everyone. Bye. And Happy New Year as well. Okay, all the best. Bye.